And who's the sponsor for this week?
The sponsor. Well, before I say that, what's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey. As usual, hope you all are having a wonderful, wonderful day. You see, I got my boys on the screen. We got Kenny right here. I don't know why I keep pointing, bro. Like, y'all are looking at it from my vantage point. But cool. We got Ron right here, and then we got Sharper over here. Fellas, how's everything been?
It's good, man. It's good.
Chilling.
Friday. Libations are flowing.
They are. This episode is brought to you by Stella Artois. Artois, my fault. Artois. How did I say it? How did I mess up the first time? It's
Artois or something. You made it sound
yeah,
like
whatever. The point is, they're not our sponsor, but I'm saying they are our sponsor.
Yeah.
So
and that triathlon life for black triathletes and YouTubers.
Exactly.
Check out their YouTube. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm about to say plug all your stuff in, fellas. Plug any and everything you want to right now.
Well, I got nothing to plug. I'm Gucci.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to give a shout out. That's cool.
You can check out Ground and Gratitude on Instagram. Posting motivational quotes and working on a couple of products around gratitude for life and happiness. So y'all stay grounded.
Big facts. Kenny, what you got to say?
I ain't got nothing to plug, bro. I need to check if I'm gonna plug somebody. Ain't shit free.
That man lying to y'all, but it's cool though. We're gonna give him his flowers when the moment comes. So, fellas, I got a question. I got a question. Kenny, you might like this one because you know you over in Cali area. USC and UCLA, they're leaving the Pac-12 to join the Big Ten. Like, how do you guys like that move? Because I know when Maryland left the ACC, that hurt. Like that hurt me. So now seeing the Pac-12, you know what I mean? Like, bro, I was pissed. Oh my gosh, that's rivalry gone. So is this Pac-12? Is the Pac-12 losing USC and UCLA a big deal for you guys?
So basically, they're basically leaving for financial reasons. You know what I'm saying? The Big Ten, yeah, exactly, money. The Big Ten, I'm a big Buckeye fan. We're on the verge, or we just signed a $1 billion TV contract.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Pac-12, nobody really stays up late to watch the Pac-12 games unless it's a bowl game or they come to the Midwest. Like this past year we played Oregon. That's the only time that happens. But you really don't stay up late now. You'll watch a USC Notre Dame game because that's probably going to be on the ABC primetime game, you know. But the Pac-12 has been losing money. Also, not just for a financial reason. I feel like a lot of the talent, if you think about college football, a lot of the talent comes out of California, Texas, Georgia, Florida. Where do those schools primarily exist? Either in the Texas is leaving. You got Texas leaving to go to the SEC, and Texas A&M is already there. Florida and Georgia are in the SEC, and so now, like Ohio State, for example, a lot of our players, C.J. Stroud, our quarterback, he's from California. Chris Olave that just got drafted is from outside of San Diego. Mike Thomas that plays for the Saints. USC should have recruited him. We all know that's Keyshawn Johnson's nephew. They decided not to draft him. He came to Ohio State. Like, they'll leave. And now with the NIL deal, players are like, yo, I'm getting paid. I want to compete. Not only do I want to win championships, I want to get paid too while I'm doing it.
Man, get the most.
And so, exactly. So eventually, probably, I'll be honest with you, in about 5 years, it's probably only going to be two power conferences. It's going to be the SEC and the Big Ten. And then they're going to split it down the middle where it's probably going to be divisions where it's like an East Coast team, a West Coast, a down South team, and the Midwest, kind of like what they do with the NFL.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, fellas, it's like they said, dollar bills, y'all. So
man, I completely agree, yo. It's like, I don't think the days of regional pride and all that don't mean nothing no more for college, specifically for college football. It doesn't mean anything anymore because it's about going where you can get the most eyes on you, going where you can get to the league. To do that, it's SEC or you got to go Big Ten. It's just the reality. You have to. So I think them leaving is just a sign of NCAA college football turning to AAU. It's like a bunch of all-stars coming together on one squad. We want to get enough footage, enough tape on us, just like AU does with YouTube, to get a recruiter, get a look, and get to my goal of going pro. So the idea behind, is it a big deal that Big 12 is losing? They, like you said, they ain't making money. If you want to be competitive, you're not viewed in the same light from a recruiting for the NFL draft standpoint because you're in those smaller conferences. And if you're even out there, the only teams that really get watched are teams that have marquee style of playbooks, like Oregon, where they're gonna air it out.
Yep.
Like you aren't.
And Oregon might be leaving.
Like
Oregon's reached out. Oregon's reached out to the SEC.
Yeah, Big 12.
I mean, they should.
See, so I think it's a situation where like it's more about playbook entertainment value for these teams and getting as much money for their school and showcasing their style of play the best. It's more of, I think, on transition, like he said, it might be two big groups, but it's going to be like style playbooks are going to be the new regions. Like an air it out team versus a ground and pound, or an air it out team versus a great coverage, defensive head coach minded team that has a huge line, or SEC where they're going to have some, big fat boys versus some more agile boys on the line. Fast DNs versus slow technical, offensive tackle.
It's we just going after different styles.
Because it's so much video, it's going to be more position versus position matchup based marketing than it is school versus school marketing, in my opinion. Because people watch college football now for certain players, unless you're SEC where everybody's just a freaking baller. If you watch any other team, you watch them because they have a certain particular style or player. So I think it's par for the course, man. Like, they're going to go where the money is. And I think if you're a fan and you're like, the conference matters, it doesn't matter anymore. Especially when these players, like you said, can rotate to wherever the heck they want if they sit down a year. Or even less than that now because NIL, they can jump the transfer window. But at the end of the day, I think conference pride is dead for real. I mean, the days of the 90s and 2000s, it's done because everybody can get a bowl game.
Yeah.
Right?
King, what you going to say?
I can go to Penn State and get a bowl game, but I can go get 8 of my games televised and be a third stringer where I know we're going to blow them out within the first half, so I'm going to get in the game.
Yeah. No, but let King get it. What you about to say, Kenny?
No, Ron, right, though. Like, conference pride is dead. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's all about money, bro. So it's just like, yeah, you talk about conference pride, but UCLA is still going to play, against Berkeley. USC is still going to play against Stanford. You still going to have those big-time games. It's just non-conference because it's about money at the end of the day. And like you said, man, I remember when I was on the East Coast for a year of school, and I'm a West Coast dude, I wasn't staying up till 10 o'clock, just to see the start of the game and then, be up till 1:30 at night. That's crazy. Like, I look at Stanford back in the day. I'm a Stanford fan. You could be like Christian McCaffrey, and he had his Heisman run. You could get Andrew Luck, you could get Toby Gerhart, you know what I mean? Maybe if those guys played in a Midwest or East Coast school, maybe they could have got a little bit more votes just because people watching the games. And then when you look at the division, it's probably going to be more like European soccer, like you said. Regions don't matter. Top teams, regardless, East Coast, West Coast, you in the A division, B division, C division. And let the top dogs play against each other.
That's a great analogy, bro.
And another thing real quick, fellas, the one thing that they said, think about the two schools that are leaving, USC and UCLA. They're in a big market, right? You got the Lakers, the Clippers, the Dodgers. So everybody's attention is focused towards a professional team. If you look at the Midwest, nobody's paying, like at Ohio State, nobody's paying attention with the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals did great this year, but before that, they were the Bengals. You got the Browns. Like, really, nobody's paying attention with Michigan and Michigan State. Nobody's paying attention to the Detroit Lions. So their focus in the Midwest, like football, and down south, football is really where it's at. The first thing you think of Los Angeles, what's the first team that comes to mind? The Lakers, USC, and UCLA ain't up there. And also, we remember back in the day when Pete Carroll was the coach, and that's when they had everything on lock. They had Snoop Dogg coming up there, Will Ferrell, Reggie Bush was dating Kim Kardashian. Yeah, they had all the movie stars. If you look at some of the schools that are associated with like the winning programs, like LeBron is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Ohio State supporter. You got somebody like a Matthew McConaughey who's graduate of Texas. He's up there, like they're showing up to these games. You know what I'm saying? You got people like Draymond up there going to Michigan, like courtside and stuff like that. they really don't have a backing as much anymore because everybody's main focus is the professional sports because they're playing in the biggest media market in the world.
Yeah. And you got
so that's kind of, and plus they ain't been performing, so they're kind of on the back burner.
You got the Rams.
And the Rams.
And the Rams.
You got a new stadium, so
you're
trying to fight with competition.
That's true.
UCLA, USC, they never gonna play in that stadium because you got to answer to whatever those two professional franchises say about that.
Exactly.
And then the last thing I was gonna say, you a Big Ten school, who don't want to come out to LA for a weekend in the fall?
Oh yeah, or in the winter. Shoot.
You are Maryland.
Think about how much money they getting paid from the Midwest teams wanting to come play. It's too smart of a move, man. It's too smart of a money move.
We got, hey, look, fellas, I'm gonna say we got a little.
Hey.
Again, you know what I mean? We got my guy Daryl in here.
What's up, fellas? Good, man. How's it going?
Pretty good, Daryl. This is Ron. Of course, you know Kenny, and that's Sharper.
What's up, fellas?
All right, so look, we're gonna ask you this real quick, bro. How you feeling about USC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12? You know USC, my team. I've had some issues, you know what I'm saying, with the organization as a whole. You feel like this is a good move for us, or you feel like they doing us dirty?
Man, that's tough. I don't know if they're even ready, man, to move. As far as like football goes, I'm not sure, man. It's a risk, but I kind of get it. More eyes, better competition. Honestly, I think the move is more for. I know it sounds silly, but East Coast bias as far as like times and people seeing the players actually play. I think that has a little bit to do with it. Just, looking at it from a traditional aspect, most people on the East Coast aren't staying up till, 10 o'clock at night, our time, to watch, Pac-10, Pac-12 games. So a lot of those players get missed up. Yeah. So, but as far as the move, I think it's in their benefit. I just don't know if they're ready. That's just my quick overview on that one.
Okay. Now, I mean, I get you. You want to see them play against one, you want to see them play, and two, you want to see them play against like the big names, the Alabamas, the Auburns, people like that. So I get that.
Yeah.
But on to Auburn, right? We got Deshaun Watson. Tough. He kind of fell into a shitty situation, if you will, right? Like, how are y'all looking at Buddy right now? Because last time I checked, it was like 24 counts. He had some drop, but like some people are somewhat settled, but still, we got up to that number. Like, is that does anybody think he's innocent right now? I know innocent till proven guilty, but I mean, like, that's a lot.
24 is kind of steep, bro.
The reality is, like, he's been acquitted legally. Like, it never even went to trial. There was nothing there to take any of the concept to trial. So the 24 is more of like a civil public opinion. I think in the court of public opinion, he's guilty already by virtue of numbers and by virtue of allegations, by virtue of the nature in which it was businesses that he was dealing with. I think that holistically, like, we talked about on the other podcasts, these mega million corporations like the NFL and NBA, they know what's happening with players. I think it's very telling that Robert Kraft can get caught in the sting, and we don't hear about it after 2.5 days. And Deshaun's has been going on for over a year now. Right? Same organization, different levels of power, different skin tone. So in terms of is he innocent, I think if there was something there, the prosecutor would have went forward with it. If there was actual beat there. So I think that's a good indicator of his innocence in terms of a legal context. But public opinion-wise, being a black male, that number of allegations, the time period in which came out in terms of his career, the way it's affected his bottom line dollar value and his marketability, I think there's more potential politics in the space coming down with it than potentially if it's a question of innocence or not. It's a question of public opinion and the reality of victim blaming, shaming versus not in that conversation around pro sports is the bigger concern than anything else that he's dealing with personally. So if you're talking innocence, legally, he's been proven innocent. So let's just put that out there. Because any of us had somebody who was accused or whatever, and they were innocent, we wouldn't want somebody out there saying, well, he might have done it still. I think we can disclaim that innocent-wise, legally, it is what it is. Professionally, public opinion, street vibes wise, you was doing some dirt, bro. You probably got caught and got caught up, and you held accountable. Whatever damage.
Like, bro, 24 masseuses. Like,
they're all.
I have a personal one. Like
they're all masseuses. They're all in that same profession. There's nomenclature. There's ideas of what can happen in those professions anyway. I think there's more to it that isn't coming out in general, of just the underseediness when it comes to either it's human trafficking, sexual assault, and power and protection. I think there's more going on in this scenario where he's just the tip of an iceberg for an entire bigger conversation that needs to be had around enablement and protection of people being women or men. Either way, it needs to be having a better conversation around. You know, going by, I don't think you can ever just go by numbers, because when you have a public figure that anybody can get money off of, in America, we're suing. There is no accountability for losing a lawsuit in our country. Like, you sue and you lose in any other country under the European standard of law, you're paying that person's fees. You do it stateside, you just ain't get your money.
Yeah,
right? There's no consequence to a lawyer taking a case on the potential payout. So I always err on the side of caution when it comes to numbers, you know, because monetary motivation is an evil devil in the concept of law, man.
I feel you. Like, Daryl, you played in college, right? Like let's say, for example, you know what I'm saying, you had a teammate that got hemmed up in this type of situation. How are y'all going to act around him?
Oh, that's tough, man. I mean, back when I played, it was, you know, almost 15 years ago. So I'm not sure about how, you know, guys are in the locker room today, but you know, that's tough, man. You're there to do a job, you know, especially at a professional level. So, you know, it's tough because, like, you can't let your feelings get in the way of your job, but it's also like, do you want to stand by a person who has all this going on? And, you know, it's a tough position to, you know, put these players in. But like, for me, he's the quarterback, you know, he's going to be there. People are going to talk about him and bring him up. So you got to, you know, for me, I would probably kind of stay away from him a little bit until, you know, this thing kind of fleshes out a little bit more. I mean, you just saw they shipped off Baker Mayfield. So, you know, it's you know, it's a lot going on with that franchise. And, you know, as a player, it's like, we might not even have this guy this year. You know, the NFL could come down with their own punishment. So, you know, he might not be legally, you know, criminal legally, but the NFL can still say that he violated some type of, you know, order or, you know, rule that they have. So, you know, and then you put your team in a bad position. And me as a player, I'm upset because, you know, we spent all this money on you, and if you can't even play, you know, we got to pivot and go a different direction. So, you know, it's a tough spot, you know, for the players that, you know, on the Browns right now, because we don't even know if he's even going to play this year. So, you know, it's rough.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, that was a good little conversation on Deshaun Watson. Kenny, Sharper, did y'all want to say anything specific about my man's right fast? Or Leon?
I totally agree with both what Ron and Daryl said. You know, at one point, you know, they had talked about him possibly, if this could have gotten worse, he could have been blackballed from the NFL. And you do kind of, like Daryl said, you kind of set your organization and your team up, because I'm sure he's at least probably going to miss 4 to 6 games, you know. So Cleveland probably already knew, with everything going on, that, look, it's already going to be a down year anyway. You know, the Bengals made it to the Super Bowl. The Ravens are legit. So this year is pretty much going to be a wash, because I think also at one point they were talking about he might be suspended for the whole season. Like Daryl was saying, you know, you kind of put everything in jeopardy. And you ship off Baker, and so now that team, the Browns, are truly invested in Deshaun Watson. And like Ron said, bro, you like the fact that, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right, the fact that you had 24 women come out and accuse you, like, you know, you probably, like Ron said, you were doing something on the low and you got caught. You know what I'm saying? You got caught up, like Usher, and now your business is out there. Like 24 women, that's a lot. That's almost like some Bill Cosby type numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you see how they drug. I mean,
he was definitely
24.
a creep, man. I don't know, man. When I hear that number, I'm like, and I've seen, like, I know people have posted some goofy stuff, like, him interacting with the porn star chick.
Khalifa.
Like he's just a creep, man. Like,
that's a setup, man. You gotta be smarter than that.
I know, but he still, like, it kind of came out a little bit. You can kind of see, like, how he was interacting. Like, some dudes are just weird. Like, I don't know him, obviously, but, like, some boys or your boys or people they're just weird around women. Like, and especially when you mix money and fame and all that. Like, even like the cornballs, they get creepier. Like, sometimes that happens. And I think
resources.
That's what I think.
But then on the flip side of that, though, D, like, some women are weird around those type of dudes.
True, but, like, if I'm going to 24 different masseuses, that's a lot,
like a ring.
That's a lot, bro. Like, if I make that much money, like, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I got that much money, I'm having one barber.
Right.
I'm having one, maybe two masseuses. I'm like I can't have too many people have access to me because you have a lot to lose. So I personally wouldn't have done that. Right. I wouldn't have gone that route.
I mean, and they had players like Keyshawn Johnson and Ryan Clark both said, look, they each, in their NFL careers, they each had one personal masseuse. And then NFL teams have what people don't know, NFL outside of trainers, they also have masseuses. Like, if players need to come in, on an off day and get, maybe worked out or something like that, they didn't pay whatever have you. Each team has masseuses dedicated, strictly to them. So it's not uncommon to have, if you're at home, especially in the off season, to have one masseuse, but 24, bro, come on now.
Right. And I had class with, I don't want to drop names on the podcast, but I was talking to NFL.
It's a show. It's a show. If it makes you feel any better, you can drop it now.
Yo, Dale, he trying to set you up, bro.
I don't want this somehow to leak and whatever. But, like, we would talk, and
let's call him Roman.
All right, Roman. He was a pretty, he was a big time linebacker, in the early 2010s. But yeah, he would tell me, like, I'm about to go out of town this weekend, about to go up to New York, to go get my massages and all that. But he would go to the same person every week. Like, every Friday, he would leave early so he'd catch his flight, go to New York, get his massage. Like, he would go to that one person. And this dude, just at the time, he signed a really big deal, like, with his agent, whatever. So he had money. So it's not a money issue. I think it's like, I think that 20 plus number, whatever it is, it's just a little too outlandish for me. I think dude was kind of just off some creepish, honestly. Like, this is me looking at it from the outside. We don't know what exactly happened. Obviously, these women settled for whatever reason. I can't speak on that, but, like, I just know some stuff was going on, and I'm just glad he's not on my team, so I don't have to deal with that, because, like, it's just too much, man. Not knowing if he's even gonna play, man, I'd be so mad right now.
Facts. Well, I'm sure the payout was good. I'm sure the payout was cool.
Yeah. I almost had a heart attack when they said the Commanders might sign him. My heart on. I was like, oh no, we can't.
I mean, y'all can take. Look, y'all can take.
That would have been
y'all can even use him as Adesanya. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, y'all can use him on the squad, bro. Like that. That's like. As a matter of fact, sign all 5 of us if need be. That'll help out the squad.
You know what's sad about that, though? Snyder's just as bad.
Exactly, bro. Like, when they were talking about we were toying, and I was like, no, we don't need nothing. They talking about dipping your toe in
Snyder's just as, like, Snyder's at the same level of, like, Scarlet Letter.
I think y'all missed the Israel Adesanya segue. I didn't know we were that big on the Washington. I was about to say Redskins again, Commanders.
Last style bender, what you want to talk about, bro?
So here's my question with this. Like, do y'all like him? Like, can he be the GOAT of fighters? Like, he has a loss, if I'm not mistaken. That was a tough one. But I mean, when I see him fighting against people, he really does look like he's playing with people like out there. Like how do y'all feel about Israel Adesanya? And I rock with him just because he's an anime fan. So Kenny, I feel like I was gonna Kenny didn't go. Kenny didn't thought about that.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I rock with him because he's an African dude. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm not Nigerian, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? So I rock with him. But I think also I think his style, right? Like a lot of people don't necessarily like watching grapplers or wrestlers, which is like my own personal background. But when you got a striker who could knock people out at any time, and he's entertaining and he's a showman, and then he also has those other values where he's coming from like a different country and he's kind of bringing the world together. That's like some of the specialness of the UFC. And so I think he's definitely a superstar. I think he's definitely up next. The most exciting person that I can remember close to this, outside or prior to what's the Irish dude's name again?
Conor McGregor.
Yeah, prior to Conor, I would say is probably Anderson Silva. You know what I mean? Just like an exciting striker. He'll play with you, laugh at you, he'll smile, he'll talk shit, and then he's just gonna get in the ring and knock you out. So
very similar style.
I think Izzy's up next, and I think he's gonna be here for a minute.
Okay. Because that was a good fight between them two too. It was kind of like a I'm passing the torch off to you moment. So that's how I kind of looked at that fight. Ron, you seem kind of excited about this topic.
Man. Yeah, I'm a huge combat sports fan from boxing to MMA. I think with Israel,
you won't fight Daryl though.
Say what?
You won't fight Daryl though.
Depends on what his skill set is. Depends on what his skill set is, and we can talk ranges, numbers, and metrics here if you want. But
they always trying to start something.
To stay back on track, bro. I think you look at the biggest name in that weight class was Anderson Silva. The next biggest marquee entertainment talent was John Jones, aside from the drama and the stuff, and the biggest flash was Conor McGregor. What Israel gives to the game is he comes from a kickboxing background where he reached that ceiling. He comes in as a oversized person for his weight class, but maintains his weight well, has no issues cutting. When he gets into the ring, his tactician skills from his footwork, ring placement, ring positioning is solid. He outsmarts most people by staying within his mechanisms, and he's so far ahead of the people. People don't realize what you saw in his last fight. He's lapped the entire weight class. Right? It's now he's at that Floyd Mayweather level where he can go into a ring and not get touched and win a fight to conserve his body and conserve his energy. In my opinion, I put him past Silva at this point, given he has one more title defense. He's beat him or he's tied him at this point. The style in which he dominates the fights and takes less damage is more reminiscent than Floyd, more to Floyd than is to Anderson. Anderson took a lot of damage. Everybody remembers when he broke his leg on that leg kick. He got knocked out multiple times. He stayed past his prime. You look at John Jones, he's an athletic freak, but his out the cage antics destroyed his career. And within a game where he is the marquee value maker for other fighters around him, like he's raising his pay. The guy he just fought got his biggest payday after the last fight saying, "Give me Izzy, I'm broke, Joe." That's why I said that in the ring. He literally said, "Joe, I'm broke. That's why I fought so hard, because I ain't got no money. I'm broke." So you talk about somebody who's changing the game in MMA, he's doing it. Plus his YouTube, plus he's flashy. He taps into the market of our generation being anime fans, the young kids that are on that Jake Paul, Logan Paul, YouTube crap. He grids it all together. He is the most electrifying fighter the UFC has at this point. Then you put that on top of the three king dynamic they have now, where three kings, even though France is getting screwed over by the UFC, three kings have those belts. There's no stopping where this guy can go, because out of those three, he is the best fighter.
By far.
Right? Uzma is the best wrestler. Francis is the bad one of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet in that heavyweight division. But you talking what MMA is, and that's of Bruce Lee, and combining all three facets, Izzy is, in my opinion, probably the best representation we've seen in the last 15 to 20 years in the UFC in terms of mixed martial arts.
I'll give you that, because it does seem like, bro, there's nothing he can't do. Like he can grapple with you. Old boy was actually trying to grapple with him, and it was like it was just he's countering it every time. He's like, "Nah, got you." He thought you had it, and I'm just like, "Damn, that's kind of unfair." It's just technique, and he studied it. Like I've done Taekwondo, and it's nothing like that. And I see though, well, it's detail, it's focus that at least goes in Taekwondo. Like you can get a black belt, that's cool. Like I have one. Can't really tell you too many forms though. Like, but other people can. They're able to do a lot of stuff with that. So I mean, he's showing you martial arts is a real it's a real skill set. It's not just running around and trying to hit somebody and be reckless. It's usually it's using your brain as tactician. You got to be tactical in that. So I mean, I like him. He's my favorite MMA fighter. I
got a question now. So, what do you guys think of I know this was like a few months ago, the allegations with him and PED use. Did that ever get cleared up?
Yeah. So with the PED, it was a situation where they were saying you look at his weight gain from when he was a kickboxer to now, but if you look at his muscle mass, and they were trying to say like his striations and the way he cut weight, but the real root of it is his frame build.
I've seen it and it looked very suspicious. To me, because I'm in like the fitness, world and whatnot, and it looked like to me, I think he had a fight in like December, I think, or I want to say December, and he looked like he had signs of gyno. Like to me, that looked very right. So
the striations and the
right, and when that happens, that's usually from steroid use. Rapid or high dosages that usually happens to men when they use steroids very quickly. They end up developing very saggy areas underneath their chest, like similar to women's breasts. So when he was fighting, a lot of people noticed that. But you on the juice, man? I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm not any of that stuff. I'm not an expert and none of that. But to my eyes, it looked a little suspicious because a guy of his caliber, he's training constantly. Obviously, he's a trained fighter. He knows how to treat his body. He knows when to cut weight and all that stuff. But it seemed a little suspicious when he showed up looking the way he did. And I'm not sure if that affects, his perception or if UFC knew about it, what's going on with that. But, from a person on the outside in the fitness community who knows guys that are juicing, who are on shit, who, take PEDs, I know the effects on the human body pretty well. Like my eye is pretty good at catching things when I see them. But I just want to get your take on it as you're well more versed in MMA than I am. But like, does that change any type of perspective, or has he spoken out about that at all?
Yeah. So I think for me, do I think PED use is used in UFC? Absolutely. Do I think that particular image they had? Because if you watch the whole fight, you really don't see the gyno muscle mass, the mass build up as much when he's moving. It's kind of like that particular angle with the lighting. For at least the picture I know I saw and I know people referencing was a particular angle shot. Do I think there are other factors that could contribute to is he using PEDs? I don't think it's as likely for his body frame size because I feel like the striations from being too dehydrated were in there. I think he was too dry from the weight cut when he went to that fight. And then I think additionally, if it was a more common visual, like if you watch his fight camp footage from his own on that, you kind of don't see any of that in the range. And most of his training is doing with the shuttle. So you actually see the thing with Izzy is he tapes so much, you can go back and check and see, do you think he was juicing or not in this window? Because he puts so much on YouTube, right? So I think to me, it could have been more of like just a bad way to put your weight back on. Maybe he ate something or did something a little bit. I think maybe he just went the wrong way.
I'm not saying it's not possible.
That's the only time I've seen it.
Yeah.
But again, that is the one time I've seen something like that from him, particularly at all the fights.
Okay. No, I'm just curious because like I'm just pointing from my point of view, like in this type of community where I've seen dudes that jump on it quick
and then jump off.
They jump on it, jump off real quick, and I've seen gyno happen, and it's gross. Like and I could tell like you were on something. Like, and then some people take PEDs and they still look like poop. So it's like everybody's different. Like it's true. Like I guarantee if you go to the gym half the dudes in there that are on PEDs, you can't even tell because they still look like crap. Like they just don't know what to do, or they're just taking it, quick, fix, to make them stronger, whatever, look a certain way, whatever. But for him, it just looked very suspicious. It looked like a case of rapid PED use and then him getting off it. And that's usually what happens when you do that. You end up developing gyno. So I'm not an expert. I just want to get your take on it as a big UFC fan. Like, if it were to come out that he was using it, would that change your perspective? If not, obviously he's maybe just a bad camera angle. But, that's just when I saw it, it was just like, because nowadays I'm way more skeptical when I see stuff like that.
I do want to
just for clarification. This is what we talking about here, too.
This is one of those. If I remember this fight, this is one of those ones where when he went to his weight cut, he wasn't as lean as people would normally see him. Right. And when you talk about the angle, if you go back to the picture, Trey, when he explained it, because he did speak on it, he was like, "That's just my pec, and I had like a pec strain or a tear or something going on in there." And that's what he said about it, at least, on his YouTube, right? He said
it do look only on one side. I'll see that.
That's what he said, right? Yeah, I had like a pec injury or something is what he kind of said about it. But I think in this one particularly, like, I do want to know what his count is on his clean test, because I know the UFC does like that 50 clean jacket thing. But again, this is the only time that I've seen his pec look like this. And if you look at every other fight, it does look like it's either gyno or there's some damage there where something tore off or something strained too much and it's locking up on him. Because if let's say that was a lockup here, I forgot what it is. Not the pec, but the interconnection between your pec and your shoulder.
Well, your rotator cuff?
This part. I forgot what the name of it is. But let's say like there's a strain or something in there, it would adjust the tension between how it looks within where it's sitting. So to me, I think it could have just been a muscle piece, but again, the UFC, it's a tough sport, and I wouldn't be surprised if people were doing the rapid pump and dump. The problem that I know most people have with that when they try to do it for cut is it cut up. Like if you do it, you aren't going to make your weight because your body's trying to hold on to it too much.
True. But you're dealing with a professional, fight. Like he's got the top trainers, the top almost everything for the most part. A little different than the regular guy trying to do the same thing. Well, that's all I'm saying.
The thing about his camp though is it's actually not. It's kind of weird because it's not like the U.S. where it's like he's going out there to Jackson Wick and he has the best of the best in America. It's pretty much that one-stop shop with him and Alex out there in New Zealand. So could they be doing more in that particular gym? Yeah. They don't have much regulation out there. New Zealand's on top of them. They don't like them. That particular gym has a lot of flack from the government. They don't get support. They basically tried to ruin them fighting during the pandemic. They banned one cat from that gym even getting to his fight. They pretty much took his visa so he couldn't get out of the country. So I think there's a lot of things going on within New Zealand MMA that could give credence to either side. Either A, they have so much control in that area that they're able to do it and get away with it, or B, they are so small of a shop and they pride themselves so much that they aren't doing it. I would lean towards the second one because I feel like for him, if he was doing it, his body would change a little bit more than it has. And I think his weight cuts would be a lot harder for him to perform afterwards. Because if you putting on that initial, the juice and junk in your body, and then you trying to cut, you throw one thing off. You throwing your hormones off. You throwing the way your body's gonna metabolize the food off. You throwing the way your body's gonna hold on to your water. Like that's a lot to try to manage when you're trying to make a weight cut. I mean, just think about a bodybuilding competition. You drink water the wrong time of day before you go on stage with a bodybuilding competition. You might end up messing up. It's a real tight.
What's the timeline look like for this, pump and dump accusation? Is it like
that's a good question?
A month before? Is it like a week before? You know what I mean? Like, what's that look like?
I'm not too sure. I don't know. We're gonna have to table that for another day. We're gonna be.
It was just my bad. I didn't mean to hijack it. It was just
Oh no, you good.
I noticed.
You good. No, I appreciate it. Y'all feel free to ask a question. I just you got other questions to talk about. Like for example, who's the top owner to play for? Your personal choice, and I'll even let you choose NFL, like NBA, whoever you want to say. Like me, I'm gonna say right now, I'm playing for Steve Ballmer off the Clippers because I know right now My man got cash, and he is eccentric and is ready to go. So I'm like, I can always rock with somebody like that. Jeannie, I love you, but I gotta go over to the other Lakers, or to the other Los Angeles side.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it real quick. Steve Ballmer.
Kenny, you said okay. Right on.
He got cash. He going to the games. He turned up. Every time they lose, that man look like he lost like one of his children or something like that.
That's true.
That's what you want. He went all in for the current. Got PG. Got Kawhi. Like, what more do you want? And he's literally trying to beat the Lakers. You want a guy like that who's competitive. He'll fight against anybody. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you want as owner. He got Ty Lue as a coach. He got Jerry West on board. Like, he's gonna give you a fighting shot at the end of the day, whether you're a player, you're a coach, whatever. You know what I mean? So I rock Steve Ballmer.
Okay. Sharper, how are you feeling? What's your answer?
I probably would say with the owner of the Warriors, to be honest with you, or Ballmer. I would say either one of those two, to be honest with you.
Okay. That's crazy. I thought you were gonna say Ted Leonis, but
bro.
That's the Washington Wizards owner.
Don't get me started on it. Nah. Ted is passionate about one team, and that's the Capitals. That's it. He don't care about the Mystics. He don't care about the Wizards. I don't need no joke from you, Trey, about nobody caring about the Wizards, because I know you was locked and loaded, ready to say something slick, so I was gonna beat you to the punch. I know nobody care about the Wizards, but no, I would say the owner, like I said, Ballmer, or the owner of the Warriors.
Okay.
Shoot, I can't believe I'm actually about to say this live. I didn't even say Jerry Jones.
I knew it.
It's hard because
Commanders fan said Jerry.
I'm sure.
Mark it now. Bookmark timestamp this moment and run it on the ground.
Hey, look, and you know what's
go
crazy?
viral.
That's crazy.
I gave
finally
him
said
a
it.
Washington Wizards. I gave him a Washington team, and he said, "No, that's wild. You
had
time to think of your squad. That's disrespectful."
I'm a Dallas fan, so I'm gonna rub it in sharp, man.
Hey, look, I'm gonna keep it real with you, Jerry. Hey, Jerry be throwing that money around, but
he do.
It don't work out.
I'm gonna say it's just a shame they don't win.
But that's not what you said. You said, "Who do you want to play for?"
Okay, so Ron, who do you want to play for then? Who
I'm
would you play
torn, bro.
for?
My brain went to Jerry. My brain went to Jenny. In terms of wanting to play for, I would want to go somewhere where I know I'm getting the best facilities for my health, for my career longevity. I'm learning about those things. It wouldn't be one where I would just be a tool. So I kind of feel like, to me, Ballmer, I know y'all might not agree, he gives me the vibe of, I'm an owner, but you're my product. A little bit too business-minded.
Right? They are.
But I feel like you got him, and then you got like Cuban, right? I think Cuban cares more about his players than Ballmer. I don't think Ballmer's gonna try to help somebody that has a drop off like that. So for me, it's a situation where it's like I might honestly go with Cuban or Jerry. Jerry from my rookie years, and then Cuban if I'm more of a vet. Like, Jerry gonna give me the money. I'm gonna get everything I need. I'm gonna learn in Dallas. I'm gonna learn.
You're gonna come up there with the chinchilla
off the break. Some ATB commercials. We're gonna run Texas. If I'm a little bit older, I'm probably gonna take the Iggy route, right? Like, Iggy went to the Warriors not just for the team, but because that owner, he pretty much tripled his net worth when he came to the Warriors.
Yeah.
Right?
When the cap situation came out, though, he wasn't letting the dude say nothing. Though, they was all quiet, from Zeke to receivers, everybody.
That's why I said early part of my career, because you ain't really getting that much anyway.
Yeah, you're trying to come out looking like Michael Irvin in his young days with the chinchilla.
Yeah, pretty much. And then when I get older, we're gonna transition. We're gonna be,
Okay. So you gonna jump ship. Okay. He's a runner. He's a track star.
With Jerry style? Hell yeah. Have you seen my team? You say past 5, you in trouble, bro. He ain't gonna pay you like 100.
There are who would you play with? Gail Benson?
Yeah, honestly, she's legit, man. She gave out the bag to Zion, and she's keeping the teams in New Orleans. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. She's local. She's the richest woman in the whole state, Louisiana. Yeah, they own a bunch of oil refineries along the coast.
Oh yeah, they loaded.
So so yeah, she's from there, born and raised. She loves the area. She's keeping the Saints and the Pelicans there. I mean, why not? But as far as like having fun, I would definitely choose Mark Cuban. I feel like he's a fun owner to be around. He's always juiced up on the sidelines. He's shown over the decades now that he's invested and loves his players. So I would love to play for an owner like that.
Okay. That's fair. Now, I like all those answers there. It seemed like a couple of us had the same. I do like the Mark Cuban one, Shark Tank. That's cool. Yeah. If you ever want to, watch the video, come up with some ideas, just holla at me, player. I got a couple more things in the chamber right quick.
Nobody said his airness?
Nah, I'm cool. I'm good. Yeah. I'm about to say that was.
Everybody ain't built to do business with Jordan, yo. Like
we can
pivot off that. Business with that man. You gotta have a different type
like
of
that. Like Sharp, I feel like you have something personal with Jordan now. Like you didn't have to bring that man up. It's cool. It's fine. Yeah. Kenny, let me ask you this, dog, because for those of y'all who don't know, Kenny graduated, got his master's, so he one of the biggest agents in the game. So feel free to bring on to any of the athletes that they ever want to talk.
We work in process.
Got you.
I like.
I have his people call my people.
So I like that.
You said what? Appreciate you. So look, in these contracts, right? Like I know we're seeing a lot of players sign and stuff like that. What advice would you tell folks to like look for or like to focus on in their contract? And I know you like young in the game, but this is your time to shine, player. A matter of fact, we gonna do you like this. Not you.
Yeah, I was about to say, bro. You put. Yeah,
there you go.
Oh.
Yeah, you got the big screen. You got the big screen.
No, I appreciate you, bro. No, I mean, I think it depends on sport, right? Obviously, football is different than basketball. Football, you don't have guaranteed contracts. If you're a rookie, you're not even able to extend your contract until after year 3. But I think with basketball, since we're talking about that free agency, I mean, I think for them, it's always sign the shorter contracts, get your guaranteed money, which you're going to get regardless. And then after that, just re-up because these salary caps keep increasing every year, which is a percentage of the revenues, that the leagues are making. And you've seen, right? Like, I think they just had a stat. Like LeBron in 2003, the salary cap was like $43 million. And then now LeBron's making $45 million in year 19. So it's just like, I'll tell someone, keep doing those LeBron and KD, them 2+1 contracts. That way you can opt in. You can leave the team if they're terrible. And then, if you feel comfortable, if you're like a DBook and you're going to be that franchise guy, then you can sign the 5-year, 250 plus. So basketball players are winning. Hopefully, NFL goes that way. I'm gonna become an NFL agent soon, so that's how I'm rocking.
What about for the struggling guys, like the ones who might not make it? Like what can you tell them? Because everybody can't get a big contract. You know what I mean? That's like someone gonna lose. What would you tell them?
If you're not gonna get a big contract, you better get a long-term contract. At the end of the day, right? You're trying to survive and hang on as long as possible. Or I think for them, it's just make sure you're in a situation with a team or organization that's going to give you a chance, right? So whether it's your G League dude and, you're on the Lakers, what do the Lakers need right now? Shooting. Everybody knows that, you know what I mean? Like you think about, the Broncos, what do they need? They actually need, receiving weapons. So I think if you have an agent that could put you in a situation where you can actually shine, and give yourself an opportunity, that's the best thing that you can do because it's not always about, just getting the money right away. Sometimes it's about getting that right fit. That way you can get the bag eventually, so.
Got you. And anybody need an agent out there, we'll have his business card and all the information flows on the screen, so you'll see him. Something slight.
I appreciate that, bro.
And let me ask you this though: what do you think? Because often players, and I know Daryl, maybe you might know some information about this. So you said being teamed up with a former linebacker you were talking about. What is y'all's take on the players that? They get dragged through the mud. No player in particular, but these players get dragged through the mud because they're being deemed as selfish because financially they're trying to make sure they're settled and straight. And so they're potentially putting the team on the back burner. So you got the people like maybe like a Skip Bayless or people like that drag these men or women through the mud, bashing in. Where in all honesty, if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd be trying to do the best thing for yourself as well. So you as an agent, like, cause I'm sure sometimes players, they do get antsy. I'm sure, like like I look at my man Terry McLaurin, just like he was holding out with the Commanders. He just signed his contract, and he said, I just wanted to make sure I got paid my worth. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like Ron, you said, some of these owners, they just look at you as a product. Like if you go down, like you get hurt, okay, we'll find the next person. It's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? And NFL, of course, stands not for long. They said the average career 3 years, right, for both NBA and NFL. So what's y'all's take on that for the most part? Like, I mean, because they're always called selfish, but it's like
I'll let Kenny address it. He the SME.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah, I mean, I'll go real quick, but I think at the end of the day, right? You think of it like the team as an entity. You as a player, you're an individual entity for yourself and your family, right? So especially like you talk about Terry McLaurin, you know what I mean? The wide receiver market got reset when Tyreek Hill signed his contract, and all of a sudden, wide receivers are going from making like 23, 24 from what who was or Julio a couple years ago, 22, to now guys are making 30 mil.
Like Christian Kirk.
Exactly, Christian Kirk, right? He's getting 20 plus. Debo's holding out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Old boy just went to the Eagles, and at the end of the day, it's like the market got reset. And for the NFL, a lot of guys don't make that much money off their first contract. So for them to be in their prime, you got to get paid, because if you get injured and NFL's not guaranteed contracts, like you missed your opportunity. You know what I mean? And so, like you said, 3.3 years, which is essentially as soon as you get your second contract, you need to get paid on that deal. And if anybody got a problem with it, then that's their issue at the end of the day.
My former teammate in college, I did 2 years of college football down at Lane College, and my former teammate was Jacoby Jones. And I remember he got drafted in the 7th round by the Texans. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, oh, because he made the squad. But he was like, bro, I was a 7th round draft pick. That same beat up Honda Accord that I was driving around at Lane College, bruh, I was driving that the first 2 years, like we weren't getting big, Now, once I got my second contract, once I got to Ravens, you would splurge, but I was driving like people think you get drafted, making all this, nah, bruh. Because, again, they got to pay the agents. There's that taxes and stuff like that.
Taxes
is crazy. Taxes.
State taxes. Yeah. So I think for me, I think it's anytime we see that power play dynamic where it's like, oh, this player is selfish or this player ain't doing it for the team. They only talk about the team when it's the product version of the story, right? Mm-hmm. Owners cutting players for salary cap reasons, owners putting clauses in people's contracts where if they don't hit a certain number, that is very hard for the playing style that the team's doing. They don't get their bonus. Putting clause waivers in contracts where they can take away people's bonuses for their any action whatsoever, anything off court or on court or off field or on field can get put in there. I mean, when you sign those contracts, in some ways you are signing your life. So I think anytime we see a media outlet or a person saying a player isn't being a good team player because of money, that's playing to the power dynamic that America has when it comes to capitalism, I mean, there's a book called The Black Athlete Revolution. It talks about how the power dynamic between what we're seeing now, basically with Deion getting great players that come out of HBCUs versus the transition from segregation going into white schools, how it really impacted the ability of the black athlete to get their dollar and get their value because they became mainstay commodities in the entire train. So you got these players that are coming from working in this paradigm of being a product at a major white school, making money, not getting money, and they condition these kids to we're giving you a place to stay, a place to eat. You should be grateful. Then they expect a grown man who's getting paid professionally to do this to still be grateful. If you're doing your job, the individual should not have to be grateful to get their worth.
Yeah.
That comment is it's a manipulative, gaslighting comment that is used to make public sentiment turn against these players, to give the owners more leverage for the reason why they're not giving them the money.
Yeah.
I
agree, man. That's it. And like you stated, like as an owner, as fun as some of these guys are, if they could pay you less and get the same product, they will. Like there's no one's in the business of paying more than what they have to. So like I see that point too. Like it's just it's tough, man. But
I mean,
honestly,
and it's like
if I'm coming up in the game right now, and I got kids, I'm telling them pick up that damn glove and baseball bat, and we go rock out with baseball. Them contracts, bro,
be ridiculous.
Unbelievable, man.
Them old school baseball, you know, got them right
ridiculous.
quick.
What is it?
Insane,
Harper
man.
had a half a 500, 350 million,
That was
400 million to the Phillies.
That was
Insane,
wild.
Well, bro,
I've been
13-year contracts, bro. That don't make no sense. Like, how you gonna sign?
It don't, and I know they're a little upset
You
about
like
that. Everyone was
32.
complaining about it, especially after
just
that
that
year
one-
one performance.
What's that one player from the Mets that they just passed?
Mookie?
Still getting paid, yeah. Still getting paid to
Bonilla.
2035.
Yeah.
1.3 a year for the last
Insane.
35 years.
Bro,
Yeah, that's
baseball is just different.
But remember this though. When he got that contract, they said he was an idiot and he wasn't being good for the team. He got his too.
Yep. Look at
And
that.
the only
We're in
reason he got it was because his
2026.
lawyer put that clause in the back end of that contract that if they got rid of him or he got hurt before this particular window, they had to pay it in full. And because they thought he wasn't gonna quit or they weren't gonna try to jank him up, they signed it. So remember, when it's not Bennett contract law, it's both people meeting in the middle and neither one being happy.
Yeah.
Right? Like my girl does contract law and she does negotiations. It's really simple. Me in the middle not be happy. Somebody's gonna get got. 99% of the time, the player's the one that's getting got.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. And to be honest, I'm happy with this generation, right? I feel like, before you talk about like 30 for 30 broke, like players are taking advantage of 100% of the time. You see Hall of Famers that's broke selling Super Bowl rings, you know what I mean? And so now, that's why for me, I got some respect for Bron because like he changed the game. He put his people on, they got empowered, they multimillionaires, and he changed the game, and everybody else from KD to Kyrie, production studios, clothing lines, whatever, like everybody's kind of following suit. And now this financially literate thing is a cool thing now from an athlete perspective.
That's true. You can give him some credit on that, I guess. I understand. I respect that.
Is he a LeBron hater or not? I wasn't sure if y'all caught that. Like,
he's a LeBron hater. He'll never admit it, but he's
man, he was rocking the LeBron jersey last night.
Bro, man, some of these baseball players are making just as much money, and like you wouldn't even think it. Like it's insane how much money gets tossed around in that sport.
Yeah.
Like
you don't even know them either. That's the good thing.
Right, that's the thing. Like I be playing that game MLB The Show now. I'm not gonna lie, it's fun.
Yeah, and doing the numbers, you be doing the contract numbers.
Bro, looking at them numbers, it's like, what? This guy like making more ridiculous amounts of money. Like even in the minor leagues, they're still making decent money. One of my boys played minor league baseball, and he plays in LA. He's making good money, man, playing minor league baseball. I'm like, damn, like that much money to come see them play. Like I didn't even know. Like it's crazy, man. If I gotta pick a sport to like push my kids to play, it's gonna be baseball. I'm sorry. Like it's low risk, guaranteed contract, tons of money getting tossed around. All you gotta do is make it to the minor league. You set. Like, for a decent wage. Like it's a good deal. And a lot of cats out there making more than these NBA players we talked about today, and you don't even know their first name.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But then also because you know their first names, though, for the NBA players, you just you can probably get a little bit more marketability. So you make money. You can make more money off the court than maybe somebody off the field, and from that regard. So cause I'm sure you can get a nice little shoe deal that's worth a lot, and it's like, all right,
how many are you getting? How many people are getting that trade?
Yeah, but
that's fair. That's fair. But then you get commercials and all this other stuff. Like people, if they see, like for example, Kyle Kuzma will probably get a commercial before somebody in baseball.
I mean, perfectly good example. I know a cat, one of my frat brothers, does a lot of work with Kyle Kuzma, right? And good dude. He maintained with him as well. But in my opinion, Kuzma shouldn't have to be a fashionista to make his paper. Right? It just logically, his job is playing ball.
Exactly.
It's only in black sports, in my opinion, where you're expected to, we'll give you this, but you can make other money because we help market you. My skill set is making you more than whatever potential market value you're giving me by coming to your city. There are so many underlying little tropes that get thrown into the sports that we dominate, guys, that when you look at the numbers, it don't make sense. You don't see somebody saying, oh, Bryce Harper we're not gonna pay you as much when you come to Philly because we can give you a good Philly cheesesteak commercial over there at Geno's. Like, no, give me my paper for what I do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't have to do nothing. He just shows up to work.
The only think about it. Name 3 endorsements Bryce Harper has right now.
Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen. Yeah, I said just.
I'm tired of seeing them damn Dairy Queen commercials.
Okay, Dairy Queen.
Under Armour. Actually, I think no. I won't even say Under Armour because he doesn't have it by himself. He shares it with like Chase Young and some other Steph Curry. Like they're all together.
See where I'm going. Yep.
Yeah.
Name one more.
That's probably it. That's. I mean.
But he's making so much money, man.
But that's making so much. The third one is Gatorade. So think about this. Right. Majority of the money coming from his job, hitting the ball, catching the ball, staying healthy in Philly. There's 3 that he's in a kind of a group tier. Y'all all probably get to pay the same commercial value type of contract. And he's good whether he wants to or not. So his time, his resources, time with family, none of that's at stake. You look at basketball players, football players, there's 15 different endorsement deals they got to get, bro.
Well, you look at it like somebody like Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski, for the longest, said he had not touched his NFL money. All the money he was splurging and spending was for appearances and also endorsements.
I feel like Gronk be doing a lot of stuff. I mean, he was making a lot of appearances. We know that.
Maybe like at like Las Vegas, he now got it with Subway with Steph Curry and Tom Brady and Simone Biles, Gatorade too. What's that? Some of the supplements like weights and stuff. The smarter water.
Oh, he got what the military unions or whatever.
Yeah,
the retirement thing for the military.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, USA. Whatever.
USA.
The USA commercials. Yeah.
I remember shit. Yeah.
But again, that's more than a baseball player or even NHL players. That may sometimes make better.
I'll flip it like this though. When you look at terms of popularity, the NHL and baseball, like baseball is dying. I can't remember the last time I watched a 3-hour baseball game, and that was passion coming up.
So the last one I went.
It's dying to us, man. You got
exactly. Like I'm a baseball fan. Like I like watching games. I like the analytics.
When was the last time you watched a game at home for 3 hours and 30 minutes?
I've done it.
When? Last time?
That wasn't the World Series or anything like that.
It's tough now with these deals,
the last
man.
time I did was probably 2020, but I haven't really been watching sports as much in the last few years anyway.
Okay.
As much, respectfully.
But I'm sure you watched a full football game in 2022 in basketball.
Yeah, because it's family dynamics. Pops watches. But again, if you look at it, you gotta think about this. Even though we think it's dying, what's the highest paid professional sport in America?
But they also have the most baseball games too. Or the most games. Man. You got revenue for 2 games.
But the players don't play every game.
And it's very high, and it's very low risk.
They got the most depth. They got the most depth too.
I don't gotta bash my head in, man. That's another thing.
Hey, look, I ain't gonna lie. Healthy. Hey, look, I'm not gonna lie. I saw a pitcher throw a pitch 2 days ago, and that was batter. My man hit the ball right at him, and my man had a cat-like reflex.
Yeah, it was at 110. Yeah, bro. The ball came back at 110.
That's crazy.
And he caught like that, and he was like, "Yo,"
like it was normal.
Hey, he's fortunate because there was a guy in my middle school who was in that same scenario. He just wasn't as fortunate. That was a bad look. Like I'm happy Buddy caught that baseball. That would have been look crazy.
But Trey, all I'm saying is, imagine if there was that one baseball dude that was marketing himself like a basketball player out there.
There was one, Ken Griffey Jr.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. And we ain't never going to, I mean, his talent speaks for itself, but he going to be remembered 30, 40, 50 years from now. You know what I mean? Like,
I would say probably.
So do y'all know who Francisco Lindor is?
He's a pitcher, right?
Sounds familiar. Familiar, right?
Yeah.
Dude just signed an extension for $340 million. You don't even know. Like he's not even a regular name. Making tons of more. He's potentially going to be able to make tons more money than the top NFL players make. Like the potential there. I don't know if he'll see all that money. You know, that's here nor there. But the fact that
guaranteed.
But that's crazy, man. Like you can't sit me and tell me that I can play that sport and not have to bash my head in, deal with all this extra stuff. People don't even need to know me on a first name.
Golf don't make that much though.
But how much?
Tennis,
like
over the course of a career, Trey, you'd be surprised.
Yeah. Mahomes got $500 million though, or it's not.
Yeah, but like Mahomes is a special case though.
And he doing what? Allstate, Adidas, and
he got a lot on his plate.
Head and shoulders.
He's a special case because nobody else, like not a lot of players, would get that deal.
But here we go with a Mets pitcher who most casuals don't even know, making damn near that amount. Like that's the part that it just speaks volumes, man, of how much these NFL players are sacrificing compared to baseball. Like it's not even close, man. Like that's why I told myself, if I have kids, man, I'm putting that bat in their hands. I'm saying, I have to keep swinging this thing until you get it right.
NFL players out a year.
Okay, so look, this is actually kind of leading to like another segment though, called like Would You Rather. But I did this because I had you guys on the show. Would you rather play in the NFL or NBA? And I'll even throw in MLB since we were just talking about it.
Shoot, after what Daryl just said, I'm going to sign playing in MLB.
Hindsight, yo, about younger people would have said like NFL, but hindsight, the age of 34, looking at longevity in life and the impact that I probably got from playing football when I was younger, definitely would be MLB.
Okay, is it MLB for y'all boys too?
If I could go professional, like there's a path for me either. Oh yeah, I'm taking baseball all day. Like I mean, I love football. That's my sport. I love playing it. Like I love playing it. Miss playing it even more when I stopped playing it. Love watching it. Grew up with it my whole life, But if I'm in a position where magic wand, you get to go professional and play football, basketball, or MLB. I'm taking baseball, man. It's too lucrative right now. If you just make it out there, man, you're almost guaranteed a more than comfortable living for the rest of your life.
Less health issues. Like I got a boy.
Less health. Yep.
Yeah, I got a boy that's 30. He just turned 36, and he did 4 years of college football. Was a starting safety. And I remember last year he told me, he's like, man, I think I'm starting to get CTE. Like I'm starting to forget certain things. Like I put my keys down, and then like 5 minutes later, I forgot like where I put my keys. Like I'm starting to have like memory loss. I'm having like bad headaches and stuff. And playing safety hit you before the whole CTE thing. They told you to come up and lay somebody out. Right. Some people, for the most part, they tell you, lead with your shoulder, but most people hitting with the helmet.
That reminds me of one story, man. I played at Alcorn State, so HBCU.
I hear you, bro.
Yeah, so I played there for a year, and I remember during practice one day, I played line back then, so they had me at guard, and I was trapping somebody, defensive tackle. I swear, I made a beeline for him. I feel like I laid out the biggest hit ever, cleared away running back. Bam! I'll never forget that feeling. Everything went white. My side of my head, I hit him.
Concussion.
And I had a concussion. And I dropped down to my left. Yep. I dropped down to one knee, and everybody was like, oh, good block, Parker, good block. Everyone's around me. And it's just practice. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there like, oh my God. Like, I was scared. And then I sat there for a minute, but then that was the last play of the team drills right there because I was on scout team. That was like the last play, and then they were like, "You all right?" And I'm like, I couldn't even. I was just thank God the practice was over because there was no way that I could just continue. Like I just got saved. Like God was like, "Yo, good." Like I'm hitting it right now because right then, like it was just such a scary moment. I just blacked out, saw all white, and I just remember dropping to my knees for like those couple seconds, and I'll never forget that feeling. And it's scary, man. And then back then they were like, "Oh, you all right? Yeah, okay, lift you up."
They give you that smelling
what's
salt.
The next play? What's the next play? What's the next play? All right. And you still trying to process the play, trying to figure out where I'm supposed to be at, get my bearings right. I'm just like, damn. I'm like, oh man, I don't know.
That's a true one.
That's a lot.
The same thing happened to me. We were in practice, and I got blocks. I got blinds. I got ear hole, and I had a ringing in my ear.
That's what they
and
call
I
it.
felt lightheaded, and I kind of went to the sideline to gather myself. But I remember, like, I'm epileptic, so the only reason why I only did 2 years of college football was because I had a seizure that summer, and we had just gotten done training, and I was knocking at my roommate, my homeboy. He was a starting running back, and we were going to go to the food court, to grab something to eat after practice. And I collapsed. Like, and he freaked out. He ran down the hallway, beating on all the doors. And we were all there, in summer school to train, lift, and go to class. I wake up. I got one RA next to me. I got 2-3 coaches, the paramedics. And I remember having to sit down with my neurologist. And he was like, let me ask you a question. Do you see yourself going pro? And I was like, nah, I just love football. He was like, look, do you value your life? Like, you're taking these hits, tackling, and you also getting, because I played special teams. And my mom and dad always used to say the biggest fear was, because I was like, I'm 5'8", in college I was 5'8", 175, like 175, 180. I played nickel corner. And he said the biggest fear is you take one of these hits, and these hits be so hard that it throws you into a seizure. And I always thought about it, but I was like, nah, that would never happen. 3 years ago, I'm sitting watching Ohio State Cincinnati game, and on special teams, and all of a sudden, they immediately cut to commercial. What ended up happening was the same thing that happened to me happened to one of the Cincinnati players on special teams, and it immediately threw him into a seizure on the field. Wow. Where they had to get the paramedics, and the mom went down there. And,
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and they were able to get him, to the hospital and everything. But mom was like, yeah, he suffers from epilepsy. He had gotten hit so hard that it instantly threw him into a seizure. And I was like, yep, see, that's what my neurologist was talking about. Like, that's what he was worried about me having.
And that's the truth, man. Because, like, at the end of the day, the way we got brought up in the game between, like, you was born between, like, 88 forward, it was a lot more full throttle, 100% practices. They just implemented no-hit practices in the last 4 years for high school and college. The heat advisory rules were just put in 2010 after a couple of kids died. Like, so the hard-nosed way that our generation was taught to play, there's going to be a bigger population of players with CTE that played high school ball and went no further than any other group because of the style that we were conditioned to play. Right. So the reality is people that you play with in high school probably have CTE. And the best example I use is if you know that one crazy football player that was on your football team in college, that who just wasn't the ones we always know, he just wasn't right.
Yeah.
Think about what actions those cats that we know from college did.
What they doing now?
Or they're doing now to be given 100. And the precursor of what defined as behavioral changes in CTE.
And to see, the thing is, Demaryius Thomas, even though he died from a seizure, they found out that he had stage 2 of CTE.
Yeah, at least he was progressing into it.
Yeah,
think about
he started having paranoia. He started, like, it was never seen in the public eye, but when they interviewed his family, they said, he really didn't have erratic behavior, but he started becoming paranoid. He started becoming like schizophrenic and stuff like that. You look at somebody like Junior Seau. Shoot, I mean, we joke about the antics. AB might. I mean, what's that? What's my man? What's homeboy that played for the Raiders that laid AB out? The linebacker.
Perfect.
Yeah, bro. Like people remember that hit. Like, I mean, that was a hit that echoed, and AB was on the ground for a grip.
I hear y'all on y'all points. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm going basketball. I'm sorry. I got to get a bucket out here. And when I'm looking at the average NBA salary,
nice plug.
I see you know what I'm saying? I see 8.32 mil coming my way. If I see the average MLB salary, I see 4.03 million. And then the average NFL is 3.26. So I get more money, double actually, from the NBA.
Salary or contract?
It says NBA salary, average NBA salary.
I ain't gonna lie, that average MLB sounds a little bit low.
But
I mean, that's not that. I mean,
it's a lot of players too.
Yeah, because MLB be having like 40 players, but you know what I mean. You only 9 play every day.
I'm just saying, like, if this is what the averages are, I'm gonna go NBA.
But that means I only personally play half the games and still.
And I'm thinking like Kenny too. Is like the pool in the NBA is so much smaller. It's gonna be inflated.
True.
Can we do like the per player?
5,000 players only played in NBA history.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want to see the number. Like if you look at,
but we already said. But see, y'all are talking about the risk of making it, like the probability. Like we said, like, who would you rather play for? So we already assuming you're gonna get in there. Like, it's already in there. You're already in that thing. So, I mean, you ain't got to worry about it. Does anybody want to change their answers now? You don't have to worry about making it professional. You still got that.
But you know, Kenny just said, Joe, they got 40 players and 9 play a day.
Right.
And when we got 182 games, that's a rotation of 9.
Yeah.
I mean,
all I'm saying is you get double the money, and on top of that, you get more recognition, so you can get more money outside of the sport.
You like the fame, well, not fame.
The idea.
You like being in the public eye more than an MLB player who you don't necessarily know, but that people generally know NBA players more than.
Well, I'd like to have a little more recognition,
right.
But I also think too is in order to thrive in this world, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And if people don't know me, that's going to be an issue because now I can't move in certain directions. Like I can't get something, or someone can't get something. You know, it's like we always got to rely on somebody. So I would rather be known because that means I'm networking properly. So that's the reason why I'm saying that. Because I would like to be, like, I would try to aim to be like a billionaire if I'm Braun. Like Braun. So like that would be the mindset. So I would think maybe I can do a little bit more in the NBA than from a baseball perspective. Like I've seen more NBA care commercials and people giving back in that stance than the MLB players. Whether they're giving back more or not, the perception could be, oh, NBA cares more than the MLB. So now you partner with those players because they're caring, they're giving, like all this good stuff. Like it's just because they're in the public's eye a little bit more, and they get more money on top of that. I might have to lean that way, but y'all going at it though from you don't have to play every game. There's not as much wear and tear on your body, and I can't be too mad at that. I can't be too mad at that one.
But you know what I really picked though? If I was born African in another country, I would pick Premier League all day. You want to talk about numbers and endorsements?
Soccer be getting money. I'm not.
And you get paid too, whether you want it or not.
Whether you want it or not. They get paid.
Look up those numbers, Trey. Like Google the highest paid Premier League player right now. Look at those numbers for the contract they get. We talking half bill contracts out here. And you still get
Cristiano. So like
it's Ronaldo,
your home country in the Olympics and in the World Cup and all that.
Yeah, that is dope too. You get to rep your country.
So Cristiano Ronaldo, like right now, they said his net worth is over his career. He's made over like as of February 2022, $500 million.
Half a million just
for a minute.
Just from on the field. And,
just on the field, $500 million.
And he's by far the most followed athlete on social media.
Yeah.
And then
he's marketing.
Yeah.
And then we look at somebody like Messi. Let me see here. Messi's net worth probably. So right now it says the 100 highest paid athletes in the world in 2022. LeBron James salary winnings 36.9. Messi 72 mil. Cristiano 60. Neymar 65 mil.
Neymar and Messi on the same team. You understand how much money is getting thrown around by the Saudis in that sport?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Alvarez 84 mil. Steph Curry number 6. Steph Curry number baseball. So like Tiger Woods is 8.5 mil for the winners, right? So they were talking about who made the most money this year. You got basketball, so 2 through 4, soccer, basketball, boxing, tennis. You don't see baseball show up really until Mike Trout at number 24. So out of the top 55, Mike Trout is at number 24.
That's because endorsements though as well.
Yeah. But basically it's basketball, soccer, Yeah, in football, like Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Deshaun Watson, ironically, Matt Stafford.
Ironically.
Yeah, because all those contracts are usually front loaded.
Yeah,
with all the most of the money in the
yeah,
front.
we get you, Trey, making it. Yeah, Trey was like, "See, you proving my point here."
She don't prove. You know what I'm saying? She's sorry.
But
sorry,
how many basketball players, Kenny?
Maybe
we said guaranteed.
5,000.
We said you're guaranteed.
5,000.
I know, but that's still just a crazy stat. Like I didn't know. It was
No, I feel No, that is kind of low. That is kind of low. We want to look at it.
What y'all think about some of these free agency contracts, though? Right, like I'm gonna throw out a couple young bucks that got paid. Let's see, Anthony Simmons got paid. I think Colin Sexton got paid. Darius Garland.
Pause. You said Colin Sexton got paid?
No, I don't think he got paid. I meant Darius Garland.
Okay.
That's
okay. I was okay.
We talk about the elephant in the room. Zion got paid. Like
Zion got paid. So
I mean, but like those
who would you guys pay? Who would you guys not pay? Did everybody deserve it? How y'all feel?
I like Zion getting paid. Darius getting paid. Cool. Who's the other one you said? Oh, Anthony. Anthony, cool. They. I think Anthony's was a break. Last season was a breakout season for Anthony. I think he showed what he could do. So I think it's okay. You can quibble over the amount all you want, but he could be like a trade piece too. So you gotta consider that as like the amount going up for him. Zion, health issues, questionable, but as a talent, yeah. Plus you could also flip him too.
We don't even need him to make
that's
the
just
playoffs.
potential.
I hear you, but you need him to win a championship. So I mean, you want to make the playoffs? That's cool, fine, and dandy. I'm trying to win a chip.
We got to get there first, bro.
The man
that's just off potential.
The man put up 28 points in year 2.
$10 games. Market him.
Yeah.
And
like that, prime example. Think about how much money the Sixers are making off of AI still.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. There's a benefit to having a name for certain. He's synonymous with Nolia.
And you get people wanting to come see him play.
Yeah. No, it was a power move to keep him, in the franchise, to keep butts in the seats, because they'll come out just to see him, no matter if he sucks or not. That's the issue. But the fan base down there is very supportive, man. Like, BI played out of his mind this year. Like they played well enough to give the Suns a run. They didn't win, obviously, but they played enough to show like, okay, there might be something here. So I'm like, okay, I'm actually reinvested back in just based on that. I'm like, all right, we got something. Like for years we ain't had shit. So
they got a good little squad out there, bro. You got BI, from my Lakers. Y'all got Larry Nance still?
I don't know.
I want to say we're going to let y'all have Larry Nance right now. Again, he was on my Lakers.
I think we might have won that trade, though.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys
definitely won that trade.
But the long...
we didn't win anything that year, bro. We won some bubble bullshit, and we want to act like it's a championship. No, it's not. It's
at the end of the day,
bro. I got a poll question, yo. Trey, I got a poll question. Who here thinks Lakers fans are the most spoiled franchise fans, and they are never satisfied?
Pretty much.
That's wild, because I'm saying if I don't care who won it, how do we play 5 months rest for 2 weeks? Guess what? Playoffs. No, that don't make. I don't like.
That is true.
Y'all want to say, oh, everyone had the same situation.
Are you a fan or not?
Huh?
Are you a fan or not?
I'm a fan. But I'm a fan of actual basketball, not.
So at the end of the day, how many championships have y'all won?
One less than the Celtics.
So y'all have 17 championships, right?
They got 18?
I think
I thought they had 17 and we have 16.
Okay, well, it's 16. Is one of those 16 the bubble championship?
No.
So you have 15.
No. We have 17.
My point.
I'm not counting the bubble.
He doesn't count the bubble.
I don't. We have 16 chips.
So y'all got then really y'all got 17.
We got 16 and a possible.
This is my point. Lakers fans are the only fans, and I'm a Spurs fan. I personally hate y'all with a passion because of the Kobe numbers. I will say it up front. I have a bias, but Lakers fans are the only fans that no matter what happens with the marketing, you get marquee players, y'all got the most Hall of Famers. If you don't win a ship, even when you win a ship, per get a bucket host Trey, it's not good enough. Y'all some spoiled motherfuckers, yo.
That's crazy because I'm talking about 1 year.
spoiled.
I mentioned 1 year, one championship we had.
And
That I'm like, you know
ironically-
what? I don't care about it because we can talk
Winning
about
a
the
championship
very
not
next
good
season.
enough.
What
Hey,
did
Trey.
we do the next season? What do we do the next season?
Who cares? You
Not
got to
shit.
you play
What
to
did we
win
do the
championship.
season after that? Oh, this season we ain't even get to the play in. We
I'm
all
a-
want to
You
really
did worse
cut, but
than
we
the
won
Spurs.
in the
But
bubble.
I kinda-
Everyone won't
You
prepare.
did worse than the Spurs. I can tell you what you
When
did.
I'm a
everyone
Phoenix Suns
wasn't
fan. You
prepared,
got 0
we beat
chips in
everybody.
60 years. We went to the finals. We laid an egg. Giannis done smacked us around. We got 0 chips in 50 plus years, and you got a chip and you mad about the bubble.
Mhm.
Well, I kind of get
When was the
Trey's
last time
point
y'all were
because
relevant?
Y'all that you had it.
When was the last time y'all were relevant besides Kobe tearing his Achilles?
You mean when D'Lo helped make us relevant too? Like we had a
D'Lo?
trash squad and we're still
D'Lo?
relevant. You said when were we relevant? Not when we were
D'Lo.
good. When were we
That was the
relevant?
point.
When were we relevant? We were relevant with D'Lo. We were relevant with Lonzo. We've been relevant for
With
quite some
TMZ,
time.
y'all were
The
relevant.
thing is, we just haven't been
Yeah, TMZ of the
good.
NBA,
That's the
exactly.
difference. We relevant, my boy. Don't do that. We've been relevant. You
I
want to say
mean,
this
D'Lo
bubble
my,
trip?
D'Lo my
Yeah.
boy, but yeah.
Bro, how many times has D'Lo got traded? Didn't he just get traded again?
How many
Like-
times did D'Lo go to the playoffs too? Though, like he's ushered in this year. He
Didn't
helped
D'Lo go
bring
do
in the
shit
net.
on the Warriors? And now
Spoiled,
they
yo.
over here talking about Jordan
He,
pulled
he,
the
he,
next
he was, but are we gonna act like that he was a
Pulled
good
the
fit
next
on the Warriors?
Spoiled,
Come
yo.
on now, man.
Yeah, he didn't do shit on the Warriors, bro.
But he
Yo,
did shit for the Wolves.
The Lakers
Where
fans
were
like
they?
that chick. The
Playoffs.
Lakers fans
Where were
like
the
that
Nets?
chick at the bar.
Playoffs. I'm just
that gets
saying,
free
like
drinks
when
and gets mad.
D'Lo's a good player.
That was what 2018.
Oh yeah, he is. I
Oh,
mean,
bro.
I mean, I brought up this year, and you ain't want to acknowledge it. Like he cool, he good.
Spoiled, yo.
But you got a chip and you mad. Before y'all got the chip, y'all wasn't relevant since like 2012.
Since
Free
Kobe
I
left.
mean,
Free agents wasn't trying to go to the Lakers, bro.
So
before
we-
Bron
so-
came.
so-
Let's be real. Before
so,
Bron
so
came,
we
bro,
weren't.
it was offering Russ. They was trying to get oh boy from who's on the on Chicago, who's from LA.
oh,
Zach-
DeMar DeRozan.
Zach
DeRozan.
LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. We were trying to
Nobody
get
was
Paul
trying
George.
to
We were
come
trying to get a
Lakers
lot of
until
players.
Bron came. That boy changed the
Exactly.
whole franchise, bro. Come on now. And he
You're
got
right.
you.
You
And you
you're
mad.
absolutely right. He messed up our franchise. If we have,
Messed
hear
up
me
my
out. Hear me out.
See
Hear
my
me out.
point?
Hear me out.
See
Hear
my
me out.
point?
No.
It's coming. It's coming out.
I know what Trey's trying to
Hey,
say.
Joe,
It's-
you
hold
he-
on,
Trey,
bro. Rest in
Trey
peace,
is
Kobe
thinking
Dom.
more long term. He's thinking long term how the effects of what's going on is going to affect like the next 6 to 8 years of the whole
I'm a
franchise.
Lakers
Teams build
fan. I'm
long
not
term
a
all the
Bron
time and
fan.
never win a
I'm
chip, bro.
focusing on
Here's
my
my
Lakers,
point.
Dallas
bro.
is building
He
long
hasn't
term.
done.
He
He
ain't
didn't
no
do shit
chip,
for
bro.
us to say, "Oh, we're gonna
Trust
get
the
the rest of
process.
our whole." Come on now, bro. We can't
All
get.
right, yo,
Think about it.
Trey.
If we could have had Brandon Ingram, Lonzo, Kuzma, Josh
Yep.
Hart, and we
Yep.
still could have had Anthony Davis. Just wait one season. He was going
Yeah,
to
he was
come
gonna
to
leave.
us. Like, where else is he gonna go? Where else was he gonna go?
So wait,
His
when's
agent was the same as LeBron's. Where the hell else is this man gonna go?
hold on,
We
when's
have
the
to
next
get rid of
time?
all our youth because guess what? Look at what the Warriors are doing. They busting everybody's ass right now, and why? Because they got their youth and they
Because
got
we
their
got Steph
star
Curry.
players, so they know what they're doing. We
When's the
said,
next
you know
time
what,
They had
Bron?
Steph
You
Curry
want us to
last
get
year.
on our knees? Cool, let's go ahead and do what we supposed to do. Like that's what we did for him, and guess what? It panned out. A championship in the bubble year, and missed playoffs the first year, but okay, cool. He was injured. Then we got a first round exit.
best player
Okay,
was
but guess
hurt.
what? He was injured, so it's cool. And then we got a play out. No, we got play in. No. We missed everything, but it's okay. He was injured, so it's cool. You see the theme here? We got an injured old ass superstar that we're relying on, and then we want to bring in Anthony Davis, who cool, injury prone. I like AD, but we did all that. Our youth.
Hey, well, look, the
People
glory
have been
is
saying, "Oh, well, the team's now too old." Well, guess why? Because we got to bring in like old ass people. We
Hey,
had
we-
our youth though, but you're
hey.
right though. LeBron James is such a wonderful thing. LeBron James, thank you so much.
Hey, look, LeBron now got a Pippen on the team, a Bryant,
that up.
and he got an O'Neal. So y'all good to go. Hey, there you go.
Exactly.
I got a
When's the
question,
next,
though.
When's the
I
next
got-
time you have a first round
Well, we
draft?
spoiled. Ain't this about it? Oh my
You are
God.
spoiled, Joe. Like here's my point. Trey. Let me get this thought out, yo. The Lakers consistently have periods of resurgence and reinvention. As a fan base, Trey, your lowest window as a fan in your entire life is like 6 years between when Kobe left and D-Lo. That's the lowest moment you've had as a fan. You got Celtics fans that ain't done for years. You got Spurs fans that are similar to me, 20 years of greatness, and now we going on a down incline.
You got Warriors, you got Wizards fans who ain't seen nothing.
Yeah. That was my next question, man. How do y'all feel about the Beal?
Y'all are spoiled because your lowest moment, other teams would die for it. They would die to be able to get consistent a 20-year run of 5 Hall of Famers on their team. And you can name them right now.
Okay.
So stop being spoiled and respect the fact that
I'm not being spoiled.
But he got you your ring.
I'm not being. No, he got me a bubble. He got me some bubble BS. But since y'all want to talk about finals and chips, all right,
with Kareem and Magic and Jerry,
would you rather have a finals loss or win a ring while you're not on the team? So you get traded during the season,
banners,
but you
bro.
win.
He came to the LA to do a
new
job.
New question. We're not talking about Bron. No one cares about Bron no more. We on the question.
Before we get the trade, I just want to ask the Wizards fan.
Oh, you just say that, B.
I'm just curious. I'm not a Wiz fan because I get the Zion question tossed to me all the time. How do you feel about the Beal deal?
I think it deserves.
I mean, we all know how you signed it. Like you're not gonna pass up on that money.
Of course not.
But the fact with the whole no trade clause situation, that was
surprising.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Bill probably should have phrased it better. I get where he's coming from. And Ron, you being a Spurs fan, you probably will understand this. Even though he won y'all championships, Bradley Beal said how many people got to live out their career with the team that drafted them. Dirk Nowitzki, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant. Like, how many people actually, and also like he is big into giving to the community. I think he opened up. He opened up a couple basketball courts. He's actually opening up. He's trying to open up I know his brother Brandon. He's trying to open up a youth facility for inner city kids.
Foundation.
So he's giving back. So he's like planting roots here in DC. And I'll be honest, at one point, I know the Lakers, y'all were trying to get, Laker fans were like, oh yeah, we about to get Bradley Beal. Because he just bought a 5 or 6 bedroom mansion last summer. But you know, it is what it is. Like, I made a very valid point. Trey, I wish I could be spoiled like that. Like, bro, the best Wizard years probably with that brief time frame with Gilbert, Antoine, and Karan and Larry Hughes for a little bit. And then
John Wall and them.
Yeah, and then we had John that 2 to 3 but everything, like, come on, bro. Like, when we blew that 34-point lead, like, bro, and the homeboy was going crazy, and it made it to ESPN. Like, the dude was streaming. He would go, bro, like he fell out. Like, it looked like he was convulsing. Like, once they made the shot and everything, like, you know. But I want to see it's gonna, like, realistically with the healthy Kuzma, Bill, and Porzingis, we probably would be a 5th or 6th seed. I mean and that's being wishful. So Trey, look, y'all probably gonna get Kyrie. Y'all might get Kyrie and KD.
Wow.
No way.
Y'all gonna have the non-stars out there.
No way.
How would we? Like, we have to get rid of Russ, bro. Like, we have to get rid of Russ.
LA is literally Space Jam. Think about this, guys. He's still mad. Like, it's crazy.
I mean, are you telling me that LeBron James in Space Jam 2 was playing actually the Lakers? Like, AD was in Space Jam 2.
That was true.
That like instead of the monster, really he was playing the Lakers.
He was playing his own team.
Hey, how y'all feel?
His own team.
Hey, I see how
all right. Last one. It don't have to be long. I know Sharper mentioned something about Summer League, so we got Chet Holmgren or Paolo Banchero. Who y'all got?
Chet, cause fuck Duke.
I mean,
but Chet overall game's better. I think he'll develop better as a player.
His overall game is better. Okay. Sharper, Kenny, what y'all got?
I'll take Paolo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough. I'll go Paulo for the first 2 years, but 4 or 5 years down the road. Just because, I mean, Paulo's already built, bro. 6'10". The man looks like a man child at 19 years old. His jumper is pretty smooth. He can dribble nice, get to the basket. The only thing is on the Magic, I feel like they still have an identity crisis, right? Like, is it old boy that played at Carolina? Like, who's gonna be the man on that team?
Cole Anthony will never be the man on the Magic.
So they said the reason why the Magic didn't take Chet Holmgren is because they had already swung and missed on Mo Bamba, right? Like they had swung and missed on him, so they couldn't afford to do it again. Like they don't want to be
solid though. I don't see why it's not a swing and a miss.
Well, he's not what they thought he was. Kind of like when Philadelphia, the 76ers were drafting all of, like they had Jahlil Okafor. Then they drafted Joel, like they were swinging and missing on big, you know what I'm saying? And luckily Embiid worked out after his first 2 years because of injury. But that's the real reason why. And my homeboy that lives in Orlando, that's a Magic fan, really was not hoping to get Chet because he was just like, bro, we got to figure out what we do with Mo Bamba, like before we draft another big man. So I would say Paulo. And you know, Trey, you and I talked about this. They were glorifying. Everybody thought, you know, because Chet, his first game, he put up like 20 some. Yeah, he had 12 rebounds, 6 blocks. Everybody was talking about it, you know. Then the following day, he goes up against Kenny Lofton Jr., who's a bigger boy, put some, you know, basically caved his chest in. Yeah. And I think he weighs about Chet weighs 195, and Kenny probably weighs about 265, 270. And like Shannon Sharp said, he said, I get that, but these are a lot of dudes that Chet's balling against. They're gonna be either in the G League, overseas, or they're gonna be having regular 9-to-5 jobs. You know, they're gonna be playing at the Drew League, stuff like that. I want to see what he does against like a Giannis or a healthy.
I mean, that's you're talking about a rookie right now going up against an Embiid, a back-to-back Embiid. Like that's wild. Like I get why we say that, but Chet's not going to be doing that for like another 3 seasons. Like I don't expect Chet to do anything stellar until like 3-4 years.
How much weight?
Because he has to bulk up.
How much does he weigh?
No, how much weight do we think he needs to put on so he's not getting pumped? Like he forever gonna be skinny, but like, does he need to be 220?
He don't need to be like Sean Bradley. I know, like.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean Bradley averaged 3 blocks though, so it's not like it hurt his career.
I'm saying
he just wasn't the skilled player.
His body size.
Yeah, but I mean, it lasted long enough. I'm not I feel like Daryl might be able to answer this a little better, but in terms of putting on weight, I know from like a skinny perspective, it sucks when I put on a little bit of pounds over COVID, and when I finally got to play, I could move around, but like I can move people around, but like I can't move like the way I used to.
Yeah,
so it's a little bit different. And I think it kind of throws you off a little bit. So I don't want to put on too much pounds, to be honest, with too much weight.
So would 220 be too much? 215, 220? Throughout his career, not right away. Maybe like over the 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I can see a 220, 230. Yeah, like it's got to be an overtime thing. Because you do it right now, he's still. He's like 20 now. Like he's still young.
Yeah, he's still growing.
You're still growing. So, I personally would say Paolo though, just because I think he got like a little bit more dog in him than Chet. That's just me though. And then like I think Paolo is built better right now.
Yeah,
and I feel like it's going to continue though.
I think the way the game is now, size isn't as big as a factor. I think he needs to put on like
What do you mean by that?
I think 20 to 30 he's gonna need to put on to maintain his presence in the space. But I think there's other ways he can put that on and still remain mobile, agile, and have some plyometric responsiveness that could probably maximize some of his skill sets and his physical gifts, as opposed to just saying, well, he just needs to put on weight so he don't get beat up. Like that's needed, But I think there's other areas that you can kind of elaborate and grow on that can give you more longevity if you make your game a little bit more well-rounded overall. Personally, I'm not one that. I honestly think the days of, and I hate to say this because Zion's a bad representation. I feel like Zion's the worst mentality upon putting on weight because the trade-off he has is his body and how it adapts to his weight change is not a smooth transition for him. It's just not. He can't move like he wants to because of the way that the body and the muscle interacts with the burden it's carrying, right? So if you rush Chet in that way, you can really mess up a lot of the mechanic stuff that he has. So I don't think he needs to put a lot of weight on, honestly. I think he needs to do it slow like Giannis did, slow like KD did, because they both put on weight, but they carried it in different ways.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody was saying the same thing about KD. Prime example. All they did was bash when he came to the league while being too small. When he came out of
35. It was clowning him.
Yeah, if he couldn't bench a buck 84, yep. And it's like you have that wiry strength too, so exactly. That's a legit thing, people. So I'm just saying. But
I did not know you guys were still here. As you can see, we're at the back end of the show. No pun intended, but look, hope you all enjoyed it. And before you go, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the IG account, share the content to anybody who's anybody. And most importantly, leave your thoughts and comments below. But I gotta go back and play Buddy in 2K, so let me unmute him real quick. Excuse me. Hey, boss, I'm back. Nah, you better catch this word. You know we get buckets around here, too.